Hey team, it's Erin. So I just wanted to talk to you today a little bit about vendor events. Vendor events are just one way in which we can market our Jamberry businesses. Vendor events are basically events. They can sometimes range from just shopping events, and they can also be like charity events, bingo events, just basic marketing. There are usually a number of vendors. A lot of them tend to be direct sales. You'll also find some crafters, some people who are, artisans. Also, usually, you will find at vendor events. You find them a lot throughout the year. More so, you'll find them during the holiday season. As we're coming up into the holiday season, I thought this would be a good time to kind of reiterate some things about vendor events for us as Jamberry consultants. So the first thing I want to talk about is why we do vendor events. The number one reason to do a vendor event is to market yourself, to increase your visibility, so people who are local to you know that you are there. It's about making connections. It's about building relationships. You want to meet people who are actually attending the event, and you also want to meet people who are actually the vendors in the event, because sometimes vendors can actually be really, really great prospects for you as new customers and as new consultants. So, the number one reason to do a vendor event is to book yourself some parties. That's it. The number one reason to book a vendor event is not to get sales, not to have a ton of inventory and sell it. It is to book yourself some parties, find some new recruits, and find some new hostesses. That's absolutely why we do it. As we do come up into the holiday season, you will start finding some vendor events are asking that you do carry some inventory that you can sell at the event. This is fine. If you have some inventory that you can sell, absolutely go for it. Do not ever feel like you need to go out and buy $2,000 worth of inventory for a vendor event that you just would never be able to sell otherwise. Jamberry never requires us to hold inventory. We, as a team, I don't encourage you guys to buy a ton of inventory that you could never sell. It's really all about knowing what you would need for an event. And any good event coordinator can tell you if they want you to have inventory with you at an event. The main question that we usually get when it comes down to vendor events is, how much should I pay for a vendor event? This is kind of a loaded question because it really varies. It varies on where you live. It varies on how populated your area is. It varies on what the event is for, when it is, how many people they expect to come. There are a lot of variables. But I will say that most good event planners can tell you what they expect. They can tell you, hey, we've been advertising in the newspaper, so we really expect about 500 to 600 people there. Okay, that's good. If your event planner says, well, we don't advertise, it's the responsibility of the vendors to advertise, and they need to bring people with them, and that's how we do it here, you're not going to want to pay as much money for that event because you are depending on other vendors to invite people to come and shop, which has always kind of been a weird thing in my book, because I'm a vendor. I have friends, but my friends buy from me, so they don't necessarily need to go out to an event to actually go shopping. So it's kind of a weird thing, but the price is really gonna vary. For example, I do a vendor event every once in a while that is kind of small. There's usually about 30 to 40 people there, and it costs me $15. That's fine. $15 is $15. It gets me in front of 30 people, and that works for me. It's only a couple of hours, and it's right down the road. So it's a super small setup. I literally have 2 feet on a counter. So that one works for me. Other ones I've done have been like holiday shopping fairs that are set up all day on Saturday. Those will range for me personally between about $50 to $150 depending on their location and how many people they actually expect to be there. There's also women's shows, and women's shows can cost anywhere from $500 to $1,500, but they bring in thousands and thousands of women. So it's all about what you can afford and what you want to put into it. If paying for a vendor event would absolutely break you if you didn't sell anything or you didn't book a party and you cannot afford to be without that money, then it's not for you. That's all. That's exactly how I want you to think about it, okay? If you cannot afford to do it and lose it, then you cannot afford to do it. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But it is about knowing where you are in your business. So those are my notes for vendor events. They can be great ways to book new parties. They can be great ways to get new consultants on your team. They're great ways just to get your name out there. So if you have some available to you, definitely try one. I encourage you all to try one. All right? Have a good day.